It was just last month that we were talking about a supermoon. Well, if you missed that one, you can catch another one tonight. The first full moon of 2018 will take place tonight. A supermoon occurs when the moon becomes full on the same day that it reaches its perigee, the point in the moon's elliptical orbit when it's closest to Earth. Now, if you missed tonight's, another supermoon will take place on January 31st. According to NASA, that one will also feature a total lunar eclipse.
Pretty cool. All right, coming up on 23 ABC News, some changes on the way for Raiders fans. We'll tell you who could be the next head coach.
And it was quite the year for athletics here in Kern County. 23 ABC Sports Director Stephen Hicks takes a look back at some of the best of 2017.
Hey, good morning, Kern County. It is 5:11. You see this area in gold, just indicating that there's a little bit of fog forming along the Highway 43 corridor. Not a lot of moisture, so it's not thick, dense fog. Visibility should be fine. Heading up over the Grapevine, you see that there's some people leaving the valley. There's just one person coming down the grade here. As for Bakersfield, all of those highways running in the green. And if you're trying to fill up and save a couple pennies, here are the best gas prices I could find in town for you. It looks like $2.69 up in the Northeast at the 76 Flower and Beale is the place to be.
All right, thank you, Elena. And the search officially on for a new head coach of the Raiders after the team announced it would be firing Jack Del Rio on Sunday. The announcement of the firing came minutes after the Raiders' 30-10 loss to the Chargers in Los Angeles. After going 12-4 last year, the Raiders were a favorite to challenge for a Super Bowl this year, but the team had a disappointing season, finishing with just 6 wins. Del Rio met with the media moments after he was fired.
Spoke with Mark Davis after the game. And Mark let me know that he's not going to be bringing me back. And so he told me, loved me and appreciated all that I did to kind of get this program going in the right direction, but that he felt the need to change. I told him how much I appreciated the opportunity he gave me.
Now speculation that former Raiders coach Jon Gruden will be the team's next coach. Gruden won a Super Bowl with the Buccaneers and has now been an analyst with ESPN for nearly 10 years.
And the NFL playoffs are now set, and 23 ABC will be bringing you one of those games Saturday. The Kansas City Chiefs will play host to the Tennessee Titans Saturday. Coverage of the game is set to begin at 1. Kickoff for the wild card game is set for 1:35 right here on 23 ABC. Well, it was quite the year for athletics in Kern County, whether it was taking hockey outside or taking Cal State Bakersfield to the Big Apple. Sports Director Stephen Hicks takes a look back at the biggest moments from 2017.
As we look back on another busy year of Bakersfield sports, we start with the story that started it all. And while the Condors are perhaps known for their teddy bear toss or their wacky promotions, this story was all about trying to deal with Mother Nature as they headed outside.
You can plan all you want for an outdoor game, but sometimes Mother Nature has the final say. The Condors making national news for playing through a rainstorm on a star-studded weekend that featured Luc Robitaille and the Great One himself.
Nobody probably ever thought that we'd play an outdoor game in Bakersfield in January 40 years ago, so this is a bonus.
Flash forward to March, and the Runners continued their recent string of success, bringing home another trophy here to CSUB. But regular season success aside, the Road Runners then became Road Warriors, going on a memorable postseason run that ultimately ended at Madison Square Garden in New York.
Bakersfield, they're doing it again.
After winning their first ever regular season title at the D1 level, CSUB headed to the National Invitation Tournament.
Since we're here, we might as well go after it.
The Runners made history, pulling off upset wins at Cal, Colorado State, and UT Arlington. Becoming the first 8 seed in the history of the NIT to make it to the Final Four at Madison Square Garden.
I think we're getting to the point where we can expect a great year every year.
But the basketball team wasn't the only one pulling off upsets. Despite entering as the 4 seed, the Runners caught fire en route to a WAC title in their second ever NCAA tournament appearance. But late November, the school making a move that will leave an imprint for years to come.
To be in the conference that we're a natural fit in is huge.
CSUB announcing the switch to the Big West Conference by the 2020 season, a league filled with primarily California schools. Teams' travel times and costs will significantly reduce and also allow the return of regional rivalries. This summer, no one could rival Derek Carr's paycheck. At the time, the Bakersfield Christian grad signed the biggest contract in NFL history, but the Raiders' season
Beat that beat!
hasn't been able to live up to the preseason hype. The unveiling of the new renovations to the 94-year-old Griffith Field was one of the biggest local football stories until Burroughs hosted a section title game. The Burroughs, the only team in Kern County playing for a championship. So it's another year for the record books, filled with its share of tears, titles, and triumphs. All of it getting Kern County ready for sports in 2018. Stephen Hicks, 23 ABC Sports.
All right, I like that wrap up. I don't like these numbers though. Yesterday it was at 69 for the last day of December, the last day of the year, well above our average of 55, actually much closer to our record of 73 than our average. So it's been a warm couple days. We've been hazy and stagnant out there and also dangerously dry. Yesterday, obviously there was no rain. So for the month of December, we only had 400s. Season to date since October 1st, the start of the water year, just 700s. We should have had almost 2 inches by now. So just a sign of how dry it is. Our drought status now back to abnormally dry, the first ranking of drought here in California, and much of Southern California is already back to a moderate drought. There's no rain really coming through Northern California, just some flurries up there near Nevada now. Zooming in, we do have some fog and some haze here on the valley floor, sitting in the 40s for many places, but Delano 32, 38 in Pine Mountain Club, and some 30s down into our desert communities if you're headed that way. Later on this afternoon, we get to enjoy those 60s again with sunshine, just thin passing clouds. But with the stagnant conditions comes this terrible air quality, unhealthy for everybody for another day. So wood burning is prohibited while we try to spare our air. As we take a look at that disturbance moving over to northern Nevada, that kicks out of the way. Some passing clouds Tuesday, Wednesday, there's a system organizing just offshore and trying to move toward us. Now you see most of it's heading up to the north, but it will skirt by with some rain chances for our mountain locations late Wednesday into Thursday. But I think the valley here has been so dry and relatively warm for so long that we really get skipped. It's actually some tropical air moving in, so I think we'll be in the 70s, still hazy, passing clouds but no rain. And then we have a couple disturbances lining up for the end of the week into the weekend and even early next week that could bring us very slight rain chances, a little bit of cooling, but you see for the next 10 days we are still 10 degrees or about 5 to 10 degrees above average. So for the Kern River Valley, again 10% late Wednesday into 20% Thursday morning, and then we'll see if we can pick up anything else out of the impulses moving on shore after that. Tehachapi, you'll have highs in the 60s for the next couple days as a result as well. Upper 50s Friday into this weekend. Fraser Park, much of the same.
All right, and coming up on 23 ABC News, if you want to take a bike ride under the moon, well, we have details on where you can meet up with other bike riders for that full moon ride.
And The Last Jedi is now first. We'll tell you the benchmark it surpassed at the box office this weekend. You're watching 23 ABC. Good morning, it's 5:21. This a live look from the Netherlands. A celebration underway there as residents prepare for their annual polar bear plunge. The tradition has been in place since 1965 and regularly brings out about 10,000 people to participate as they jump in those chilly waters. Well, if you don't feel like doing that, but you feel like going for a bike ride, you can do so under the stars. You'll have a chance to ride under the full moon tomorrow night. Bike Bakersfield is holding its first full moon bike ride of 2018. This one starting at Beach Park tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. The ride will head from Beach Park down to the marketplace. The ride is free and is open to all skill levels. And later this week, girls around town will have a chance to learn about maintaining their bikes. Bike Bakersfield holding what it's calling a Grease, Gears, and Girls. It's designed to teach girls how to fix flats, patch tires, and take care of their bikes. It runs from 6 to 8 Thursday at Bike Bakersfield's office on Chester Avenue. And even though the event is aimed for girls, it's open to everyone.
And if you got a puppy for Christmas, well, lucky you. You might want to consider having them spayed or neutered. This week's spay and neuter clinics will be held for residents in Wasco. Clinics will be held Thursday and Friday at the Wasco Veterans Hall on Poplar Avenue. Cost is $30 per dog. The cost covers spaying or neutering, a microchip, pain meds, and rabies vaccines. Each is scheduled to start at 7:30. Now to the box office, where Star Wars: The Last Jedi continues to dominate. Over the weekend, The Last Jedi passed Beauty and the Beast as the top grossing film in North America in 2017. Walt Disney Studios announced over the weekend that The Last Jedi would add more than $52 million to its total over the last 3 weeks. That puts it at just over $517 million globally. It's already topped the $1 billion mark. There's still much more to come in our next half hour. Coming up on 23 ABC, recreational marijuana is now legal in California. We'll tell you how many businesses are now going green in the Golden State.
And there's a new law in California that you might not know about. We'll tell you how it might be able to get you a free ride if you're out drinking. You're watching 23 ABC.
Live from downtown Bakersfield, 23 ABC News starts now.
It is a new year and Kern County celebrated it in style. We'll take a look at how some of you rang in 2018.
And what's New Year's Day without the Rose Parade? Well, we'll get you ready for the 129th annual event set to take place this morning in Pasadena.
Good morning, everyone, and thanks for staying with 23 ABC News at 5:30. I'm Alex Bontes.
And I'm Veronica Acosta. Now we have Chief Meteorologist Elena Rusk here with us this morning. Elena, it's not going to rain.
Not going to rain, no, which is such a bummer, but it's New Year's Day. We want to go play with all our new Christmas toys, right?
Yeah, it was a usually hot Saturday, and Sunday a little bit cooler, but still, for the new year.
To be running around in a t-shirt in winter, welcome to California.
Yeah.
I don't know, I like it.
See, I like it too. We've had some sunny 70s out there. Today we're talking sunny 60s, but the one big bummer about this is that it comes with the terrible air quality, and that's because we have sinking air. So it leaves us sunny and stable, but it also traps all the pollution, the smog, the smoke, everything down here where we breathe. So we're at 41 in Bakersfield for our morning low. That air quality unhealthy for everyone. Wood burning completely prohibited today. And we're getting up to 66 on this New Year's Day, about 11 degrees above average. For our friends up in the mountains, you're seeing the mid to upper 60s there as well for the Kern River Valley, Tehachapi, and Fraser Park. I'll talk much more about what this first week of the new year holds coming up. But for now, if you're driving, maybe you're coming to work like us or you're road tripping, you're seeing just a little bit of fog there along the Highway 43 corridor, but the other major roadways are open.
All right, thank you, Elena. And it is officially 2018, and thousands around Kern County were out officially saying goodbye to 2017 and hello to a new year.
Yep, 23 ABC's Scott Sheehan was out with revelers and was there as the clock struck midnight, signaling the start of that new year.
3, 2, 1. 2018 roared into Bakersfield.
2018 is going to be my year, and I'm just waiting for it to arrive.
2018, I just got a new job, so hopefully that's going to take off and do well in that. Spend more time with family.
As the minutes of 2017 dwindled down, partiers reflected on the year that was.
2017 was a really great year. I turned 21, yay. And also I went to Davis for the first time. So I came from Bakersfield, went to Davis, and it was really great.
It was a long year, but we went through it, looking for the new year, all about positive energy and looking forward to successful and positive people and growing as a person.
At the Padre, they welcomed 2018, kissing their favorite people, and also looking towards a fresh start in the new year.
I want to do most of the same things I did this year, make some better decisions, and I'm going to have a better 2018.
Adventurous. I'm going to go to Hawaii, Mammoth, Havasu, travel the world.
They said bye-bye to 2017 and hello to 2018 while having a blast with their friends. In Bakersfield, Scott Sheehan, 23 ABC News.
And this was the scene as dozens showed up at Buck Owens Crystal Palace. The house was packed as people there rang in the new year with dinner, dancing, and live music from Johnny Owens and the Buck Fever Band.
It was also a busy weekend for Bakersfield police as they cracked down on drunk drivers. Now, according to Bakersfield police, between Saturday and Sunday, officers contacted 141 drivers throughout the city. Of those, 14 were arrested for driving under the influence. Now, police say 3 of those had previously been convicted of DUIs. And coming up later this morning, the 129th annual Tournament of Roses Parade. The theme for this year's Rose Parade is making a difference. And there's one float design that does just that. It's the Donate Life float. Reporter John Gregory talked to the volunteer float decorators about why this is so personal for them.
The spirit that comes with donation is a spirit that makes our city strong.
Inspiring words for volunteers working on an inspirational float. Many volunteers have a personal connection to the Donate Life float as it slowly comes to life.
Oh, it is going to be outstanding, incredible. It will be breathtaking. We're going to be putting on the flowers, and today we have our dedication garden where people have dedicated individual roses in honor of their loved ones.
Tina's here in memory of her donor brother. Vivian and Larry are here to honor and remember their donor son. John was in his 20s when he died of an aneurysm.
John died when he was 22, 13 years ago, and he's touched 37 lives across the country. It's amazing. Our organization in Illinois sent us out in 2013, and I was a float rider, so that's an amazing experience. And we just kind of got hooked.
The centerpiece of the float is this giant Aztec calendar, and inside of it will go portraits of donors over the years. They call them fluorographs. And while donors will be remembered with fluorographs, those who've received life-saving transplants are also here, volunteering and honoring those donors.
I'm so honored to be riding in this float, and because of this young girl, Kristen Teresa O'Hara, she gave me the greatest gift one could ever give themselves. I got a pancreas kidney now 10 years ago, taking me away from diabetes and a terrible life.
Michael will be riding in the float during the parade and doing his best to share the message about the gift of life.
It's going to be a beautiful day. The sun's going to be shining, I hope, and hopefully a lot of people see this float and become donors themselves and help save a lot of lives.
In Pasadena, John Gregory, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
This year, a fluorograph of Bakersfield native Glenn Hainold will be featured on the Donate Life float. Glenn died in 2016, but he was a registered donor, and his corneas and tissues were able to be donated to a handful of other individuals.
And over the last couple of days, thousands of spectators got up close and personal with the Rose Parade floats. Those touring the floats include locals as well as travelers across the country. Among those who traveled from across the country is the high school band from northeastern Alabama. The Albertville Aggies marching band will be representing Alabama while performing in the Rose Parade today. For most of them, this is their first time to California, and they say it's a huge thrill to be a part of the Rose Parade. And also touring the floats this weekend was Linda West Nickens. Nickens will be riding in one of the cars supporting the Rose Bowl game Hall of Fame inductees. Her father, Charles Fremont West, was the first black quarterback to play in the Rose Bowl game. West played for Washington and Jefferson in the 1922 Rose Bowl game against the University of California, Berkeley. She says she is proud to have an opportunity to sing her father's praises.
This was before Jackie Robinson. It was before Jesse Owens. So there just wasn't much, you know, for blacks to play. And he really felt like he helped his group, helped his race by what he did.
Also being inducted this year are former Texas head coach Mack Brown, former UCLA quarterback Cade McNown, and former Michigan defensive back Charles Woodson. And even though we're just hours away from the Rose Parade kicking off, that doesn't mean workers aren't hurrying to get in those finishing touches. Nearly 1,000 people have been decorating the famous flower floats for their New Year's Day debut. Assembling the floats, designed using only flowers, requires a combined 80,000 hours of work, according to the parade's website. Some volunteers have been doing this for decades and know the ins and outs of decorating the floats.
Well, I've been doing this for 31 years, and I absolutely love it. It's something I plan my whole year around to make sure that I'm here for the Rose Parade and decorating the floats.
Parade organizers say every float has more than 200,000 blossoms on it. The float with the most blossoms has more than 250,000. And don't forget, due to the Rose Parade, we have some programming changes to tell you about this morning. 23 ABC will not have a newscast at 6 a.m. this morning. Instead, Good Morning America will be on air from 6 to 8. And starting at 8, we'll have coverage of the Tournament of Roses Parade. Following the parade, starting at 10, we'll have coverage of the Citrus Bowl between Notre Dame and LSU. Now, because of that game, there will be no 11 a.m. newscast.
The holiday lights at the California Living Museum are still up, but not for much longer. The annual display featuring 3 million lights will be open through Saturday. The event is in its 15th year and was voted one of the best events in the Bakersfield Californian poll. Gates open at 5 and close at 8:30 for ticket prices. And more information, just visit our website, turner23.com.
And with New Year's already here and the Christmas season well behind us, you might be wondering about that Christmas tree that's still set up in your living room. Well, good news for you, you might want to consider recycling it. The city of Bakersfield, along with Bakersfield College, is providing Christmas tree recycling. You can drop off your tree at any time between now and January 12th at the parking lot on the corner of Haley and University Avenue. You can also take your tree to the Kern County Fairgrounds. A drop-off site has been set up in the South Peace Street parking lot now until January 12th. And don't forget, if you have a full trash can or dumpster, Waste Management Services will not be operational today. As part of their holiday schedule, the county will not be sending trucks around town to pick up trash. The services are being pushed back a day, so if you normally have your trash picked up today, then it'll be picked up tomorrow. Normal services are set to resume next week.
And for residents in Tehachapi, waste management officials say there will be no trash pickup today as well. Pickup will be pushed back a day through this Saturday. Normal operations will resume after that. And with the new year come new laws throughout the country. Here in California, one of the most notable ones goes into effect is the legalization of recreational marijuana. According to the AP, more than 70 recreational marijuana shops have been licensed to start selling pot beginning today around California. Officials with the state's Bureau of Cannabis Control say the agency has been working through the weekend to process as many licenses as possible. Now, officials say so far there have been more than 300 licenses issued for marijuana distributors, retailers, and cultivators. And starting today, if you're out having drinks, a new law might help you get home safe for free. Assembly Bill 711 allows licensed alcohol sellers and manufacturers to offer discounted or free rides to drinkers. The bill allows businesses to offer free rides to, quote, for the purpose of furthering public safety. More than 40 other states around the country already have legalized such offers. Opponents, though, say they believe the law is encouraging people to drink more. The law was designed by Governor Jerry Brown back in September.
And once you get through the New Year holiday, you might want to consider doing your part to help save a life. Officials with Houchin Community Blood Bank say due to a rollover crash on Friday, much of their A negative and O negative blood supply is now low. Houchin is asking if you have these blood types to consider scheduling an appointment to make a donation. You can donate at either the Houchin locations on Truxton or Bold House Drive. And Elena, we're going to check in with you, see a quick check of our weather.
Pretty quiet, yeah, and we like that. We're not getting some early morning light just yet. We're at 41 here in Bakersfield, and you see some of this gray stuff. A little bit of that is cloud cover like you're seeing here near Malibu. A little bit of it is just some fog that's trying to form, but I think we're so dry that it's not dense fog. And look at later this afternoon, temperatures in those mid to upper 60s for most of the county. So if you're heading out to that polar bear plunge happening at McMurtry Aquatic Center, 57 at 11 a.m., 61 by noon. One of the more mild years we've had, but that's pretty chilly if you're jumping in the water. You can also bundle up and head over to Holiday Lights at Calm. It's one of their last couple days. It runs through January 6th. Gates open at 5:30 and it's at that cool 55 and then falling to the 40s. So make sure that the little ones have warm shoes, a hat, and gloves. And then also tonight you're going to hear a lot of people talking about the full moon. I was checking it out last night. I think the clouds will clear to give us that peak of the first supermoon of 2018. Now a supermoon is when we have a full moon that's really close in its orbit to Earth. So it appears bigger and it's really much brighter. You're going to notice that. The cool thing is we're going to have a second supermoon later this month. It's also a blue moon because it's the second full moon of the month, and it will be a lunar eclipse. We're going to have Earth's shadow passing in front of that very bright full moon. So it will be a super blue moon eclipse coming up on the 31st of this month. You can read more about that on our website and geek out with me. Also find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and we will enjoy the cycles of the lunar eclipse that's coming.
All right, thanks, Elena. Coming up on 23 ABC News, we're learning more about a deadly shooting involving Delano police officers. What officials are saying led to that deadly scene.
And a cashier at a local fast food restaurant robbed at gunpoint. She spoke to 23 ABC what she says went through her mind in the moments of the robbery.
5:43 the time now. This a live look from the Netherlands as a celebration underway there as residents prepare for their annual polar bear plunge. You can see there the floats passing by, people dressed up. This tradition has been in place since 1965 and regularly brings out about 10,000 people to participate, as they all willingly participate, Elena, to jump in those chilly waters. Or maybe there's somebody that pushes them and get in there.
Yeah, and I think a polar bear plunge is a good idea if it's like the 40s, 50s, 60s like we're having. I'm pretty sure all of the ones on the East Coast are canceled. Yeah, it would just be too dangerous. Speaking of canceled, it looks like the commute is just not happening today, and that's because so many people have the holiday off. We love that. All of our traffic cameras out there are very quiet, but do expect a lot of travelers out there with you. Even though the main commute may not be kicking off, you will have extra cars on the passes. These areas of Gold showing you just a little bit of patchy fog trying to form. We're not moist enough to get really dense fog, and here in Bakersfield, all of our highways are running in the green. So that's all thanks to that high pressure that's building. If you're here visiting and you need to head back to the airport, down in Los Angeles, up in San Francisco, even if you're going all the way to Vegas, those are all running great. And even with the terrible weather they have on the East Coast and those subarctic temperatures, you can see that there are no delays right now for our major airports.
2 men are behind bars this morning connected to an alleged carjacking. It happened late Sunday afternoon at Bell Terrace Park. According to Bakersfield police, a victim telling police that the suspects fired a gun and missed them but hit the driver's seat. The suspects, identified as 21-year-old Jose Padilla and 27-year-old George Alvarez, took off in a car but were later found on Lake Street. The two now facing carjacking, assault with a deadly weapon, and gang charges.
And a man who called in a bomb threat at a local motel in Northwest Bakersfield